I love this plant. This is swamp milkweed, and it is a powerhouse of flowers for beneficial insects. The amount of little bees and wasps that use these, I'm not talking the kind of wasps that sting, I'm talking the parasitic wasps that we all need in our gardens. Um, it's phenomenal the amount of life that this little plant produces. And I say little, it's actually not that small. I'll step back here. It gets about probably 5 feet tall, 6 feet tall, and in good soil. It can be shorter. It's usually 4 to 6 feet. And nice thing about it, it doesn't spread. This little clump here has been this size clump for around 10 years. Unlike the common milkweed that a lot of people plant for monarchs, that spreads very aggressively. The common milkweed I would not plant in a small garden. I would save it for bigger places if you have like a meadow or a really large garden. But I wouldn't put it anywhere where you don't want lots of plants constantly suckering out. The swamp milkweed is nice because it stays right in a clump. And as far as monarchs go, this is top notch. I swear there will be so many monarch caterpillars on this sometimes, some years, chrysalises, and definitely a preferred plant. I don't know if they prefer it over common milkweed, but it sure seems like it from my casual observations. Beautiful flowers that last quite a long time. So cool, right? And then check this out. So this right here is a little bed of swamp milkweed seedlings that I planted, and all I did was gather seeds from the plant I just showed you last fall, and I put the seeds right in the earth here in the fall so they got to stratify, which they need to do in order to germinate. So I just kind of rubbed the seeds into the dirt in the fall, let them sit all winter, and here they are the next season, and they're already around 4 feet tall, making flowers, just coming out here with these flower buds right behind the big mother plant. So growing them from seed is super easy, satisfying, and I've got, I don't know, probably about 100 plants right there. Just a really great plant. I wish there was more of it in the world. I think there definitely could be. It does grow in swamps, but it doesn't have to. But generally, where I find it in the wild is like growing around the edges of ponds and scattered around in clumps and wetlands. It's never super dominant. It's just kind of scattered here and there. But of course, we've had tremendous destruction of wetlands and habitat in this world, and so we need to start bringing some of these plants back. Um, and it'll grow in really wet conditions, but it also does great in a garden. So here it's not. This is actually very well drained soil. This is just kind of like a little patch of garden here. So it doesn't need to be in a swamp. Just because the name says so. I absolutely love this plant. The one thing I want to say about this plant that I almost forgot, which is actually the reason I started growing it, which is I didn't start growing it for the flowers. I didn't start growing it for wildlife. I started growing it for myself because I like to make, or at least I used to make a lot of crafts. I used to make like baskets and jewelry and stuff from wild materials, and the fibers of swamp milkweed are the best. You know, I've made different uh, bracelets and necklaces from cordage of plants, you know, from the plant fibers. You know, I've used dozens of different types of plants. The dogbane is a really nice one. Regular milkweed's pretty nice, but swamp milkweed is the best. The fibers are so strong. They are incredibly strong and like a silky, silvery white. I can't even describe it. They are basically jewelry in themselves without any ornament on them. The fibers they will come out. What you'll do is, if you actually wanted to harvest the fibers, is you'd wait till these stalks die in the fall after a few frosts, and then you just cut the stalks and the fibers just come right off the stalk. They are not as strong as fishing line, but not that far off, if you know what I mean. And you can make all kinds of crafts from them. Just an incredible fiber plant, beautiful insect nectary, and a wonderful plant to add to a garden. Let's go, swamp milkweed.